What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Nathan, and on this planet we send it. And what we're going to be getting in today, well, we're going to be getting into another Jeep Badge of Honor trail, Gold Mountain up in Big Bear. But before we kick off the video, I want to thank Alex. Number one, thank you for not only inviting me on this trip, but I got to bring my cousin along on his first opportunity to test out his Jeep, which is also the first time for him to test himself out. But thank you also, Alex, for spotting us through. And also, Brian, thank you for spotting us all the way through. Now, what you're going to see here on the Relieve app is I unfortunately started it just a little too late. I started it probably about 1 mile up the trail. But where you actually start is on an optional gatekeeper. Once you got past that, you made your way up some scenic Big Bear Trail all the way to the very first waterfall. And then almost immediately, as soon as you finish that waterfall, you get right to the second waterfall. After that, we made our way to the boneyard and we headed out to, that's actually where we had lunch. And so we stopped there for about 30-45 minutes. And then once we got done having lunch there, we went up to the peak and just kept going. However, you could stop at the peak of Gold Mountain if you wanted to. We were just with the group and we're pressing on. So after that, You'll actually come to a technical section that I didn't really realize it was worth recording until I had went through it already. So I'm going to show a couple of Jeeps going through there to give you guys an idea of, what that looks like and the couple of lines that you can do. And then after that, what we're going to end up with is just going on down the backside of Big Bear Mountain until we're going to have great views of the other side of Big Bear Mountain or Gold Mountain. And then also you'll be able to see into Johnson Valley where they do King of the Hammers. So it's kind of cool being able to see in the desert while still enjoying some Big Bear mountain weather. So all right, I got a plan in place. Risks are acceptable. Let's go ahead and send it. Alex, the one here in the green Jeep, was the one leading us through Gold Mountain today. Between he and Brian, who you can't see quite yet, were spotting us through all these obstacles. Now, this was an optional gatekeeper if you wanted to do it, and we actually told many not to do it because we were struggling, as you'll see as I show in the next few clips here, about how some were able to make it up real easy and some weren't, but you'll see Alex showing how it was done. And although Alex made it seem pretty easy getting up there, it really wasn't for a lot of the Jeeps. But once you did get on top, it was just basically a very easy rock crawl to the end. Well, I was watching Alex go up the gatekeeper. To be honest, I was kind of questioning if I was going to even be able to make it up partially, if not all the way, just because of how the rocks were. I thought I was probably going to get kind of stuck on the bottom here. But once I got up there, I just was up here listening to Brian spot me through. Then I'll show you how I did here.
8, right straight ahead.
Sounds good.
4 low lockers, everything right. All right, driver. Right there. Hard driver, hard. Oh, yep. There you go. Wow. Just turn driver soon enough. Back up.
All right.
Stop. Okay, driver. There you go. Up. Nice and slow. Okay. All right, passenger. Easy passenger. There you go. Passenger. Passenger. Stay passenger.
So that ended up going a lot easier than I anticipated. I thought there was going to be significantly more struggle. So Angela here in the Jake, it was good representation on the struggles that we were having. Either we were hitting control arms that was stopping the Jeeps trying to get up, the wheels, or just not that we didn't have enough tire size or lift size to get up above the rocks. But then even if they did, on occasions, either their diff and sometimes the rock rails with the step on it would get people hung up. Now, after doing a complete reset, we were able to get Angela on top, as you can see here. Unfortunately, I hit record too late to show her actually when she was able to make it up. And in an effort to conserve time, I'm just going to show either the last attempt where they made it or the last attempt where we decided not to try anymore. But for those who were able to make it on the first attempt, and there was a couple, I'll go ahead and highlight which vehicles made it on their first attempt.
that more leverage, and that's what snapped my pinion. Right?
Could be.
Yeah.
How much bigger did you go from? Where were you at? What was stock? 31?
From 33s to 35.
Okay.
Nice job, nice job.
Good job.
There we go. You're up.
Awesome.
Now that lady you heard me talking to about tire size attempted this obstacle before us in a different group in a Sahara, and she ended up snapping something in her front differential to where her drive shaft spun, but not her wheel. So don't take this obstacle too lightly.
Passenger, our passenger.
What's catching the diff?
Hang on, don't go anywhere, okay?
There you go. There you go. So by the time Melissa got to the obstacle, she was number 11. We had only had 6 successfully make it up. And that was because the spotters, Alex and Brian, got to the point to where after having so much struggle with 4-doors on 35s or less, they just actually started having a few of them go to the bypass. But Melissa here on 37-inch bead locks broke that cycle and was able to make it through. As a matter of fact, the next few Jeeps, you'll hear how relieved we were they made it up so easily. Gunner in the Gladiator here and my cousin behind him in the JL were the 2 vehicles I was mentioning were able to make it up this obstacle in just one shot. So I'm going to go ahead and show their approaches for both of them for you to see. And like butter. Nice.
Wheelbase.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just a control arm.
Nothing big. Yeah, my cousin here in the JL on 37 with the new style bead locks, 2-inch puck lift. Not only was this his first real trail that he was going on in his new Jeep, this was his first obstacle. Watch how he does.
Come on up, nice and easy. You're on the right line.
Stay driving.
Climbing, climbing. Looking good.
That was super nice.
That was okay. That first beginner's luck. So this was us arriving at our very first obstacle that was not optional, and Alex here has taken the harder line, and so there really wasn't too much to this obstacle. It was just a little waterfall with a little climb, and you could choose which one you wanted to do based on whether you had lockers or just wanted to challenge yourself. Angela, after this, will be taking the easier line to sort of demonstrate. And when Alex asked me, did I want to take the harder line, I was like, of course. But I was a little bit too far past the turn to kind of make it an easy approach, so I just kind of took a combination of the two. But you'll see here, I'll do a quick music montage getting all the vehicles up through here, and then we'll go right to the next obstacle because it was just around the corner. The second waterfall here wasn't that challenging, but there really wasn't that many options as far as you to be able to do a bypass and take an easier line as there was on the previous. You pretty much had to take this one straight up. However, with just a good little bit of spotting, you would be able to get each rig in your group up no problem. Now, I will say, I didn't really see it, and even when I'm doing some of the video editing here, it seemed like everything was pretty flat. But when I get to the music montage, I'm going to highlight how once people were able to get on top, they were sliding almost as if they're kind of like sliding down the side of the mountain a little bit. I didn't notice the slope, but it was definitely there, so be mindful. However, once you did get on top, started making your way around, then you're just on your way to the boneyard. So we'll go ahead and do a music montage until we get to the boneyard. So once you got done with the second waterfall, it was just another short and scenic trip on the way up here to the boneyard where we had lunch. Apparently this location gets its name because when you're riding on top of the rocks, it sounds like you're riding on top of bones. And so I guess I kind of was able to hear it. So I guess it does make some sense. But this was a place where we pulled over for about 30-45 minutes, had some lunch, and you're actually at this point not too far from the peak of Gold Mountain, and you can go up there and stop too, but we didn't. But what I think we'll do from this point on is, being that we're going to go ahead and we didn't stop at the peak, we're going to go ahead and jump straight to the final obstacle, which was the last technical obstacle on this trip. After that, it was pretty scenic, and so we'll finish that up and then just get into the outro. And I have to admit, this was one of those times that I didn't realize it was going to be an obstacle worth recording until I went through already. So unfortunately, I didn't get every single one going through, but at least for the viewers, you'll get an idea of what it was like in this technical section. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight Sammy here in a Jake L Sport with no lockers going up the easy line. And even though it's the easier line, it's still pretty technical, but with some good spotting, you can get through. And then what we'll do is I'll show my cousin going up the hard line and give you an idea that of what it was like going up that direction. So as my cousin's making his approach here, I wanted to give you a little bit of the backstory of what happened just before he got to this point. He was telling me about how he wanted to take the hard line at the first waterfall. So when we got here, Alex was actually setting him up to go to the easy line, and I was like, no, let's send him up the hard line. So once he consented, he's now coming up the hard line. So again, this is my cousin on his very first real trip, to, finishing up on probably one of the the most technical obstacles for him this day. Just the bumper. And that's what I enjoy about the San Diego Jeep Club. Whether you have lots of experience or you're brand new coming out for the first time in your new rig, you'll get opportunities to shine. But let's see what my son thought about today. But Leo, are you having fun here?
Yes!
What's been some of the funnest part for you?
The jiggle jaggle.
The jiggle jaggle?
Yeah.
What's the jiggle jaggle?
Like that.
The what?
Like that.
Oh, what we were just doing, the back and forth?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of bouncing back and forth here. Yeah. But this is a pretty scenic trail. It's definitely pretty technical, so coming up alone, you could do it. But especially if you're real experienced, you probably do no problem then, especially on a capable rig. But if you're coming up here in a stock Jeep, maybe a stock Rubicon, pretty good. We've had people coming through without lockers, and they were doing a great job, but they needed some spotting. So come out here with a good spotter, and you'll be able to get this Jeep badge trail. But all right, I think we are pretty much just going to be enjoying some nice scenery down to the road. I've never done this trail, but I think that's what I overheard. So we'll go ahead and start wrapping up this video. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you on the next one.